This is Too Many Words with Jayme Bedingfield. Welcome to the show. What's up, guys? How's it going? What are you up to? What are you doing? What are your goals? Yeah. Well, so I have author Rebecca Clark on the show for you guys in a little bit. She is our author of the YA fantasy book Deceit, which is book 1 of the Stellar series. I just finished reading this book this morning, and it is fun. I had fun reading it. I actually, it took up a good part of my weekend, which is great. I love those weekends where you have this fun book, and you're getting lots of time sitting down and reading it. That is a good weekend. I think we could all use more of those weekends, curled up with a good book, outside, inside, whatever. This is a recommended activity. Yeah. So how are things going? I'm having a day, I gotta say. I'm having a day. Not a bad day, not necessarily, and not an especially good day, just a day. This is the first day kicking off my kids' spring break, and I'm spring breaking with them during the day, and afternoon hits, and then I get into, all the stuff that I do. It feels weird to call it work, but it is. It is work. And let's see. So I might sound a little bit different. I've gotten some new toys and some new equipment. So hopefully I sound better. That is the point. Upgrades, moving on up. And so there's that. I've been playing around with the podcast hosting. I've had to switch, and anytime I do anything like that, I get I hunch my shoulders up and I get all intense and angry at everything. It's like, why isn't this loading? And it's like, well, it takes time. I mean, I think we all have those things, those hot button things where it's like instant frustration and, I think we all have it. I'm guessing we do. Most of us do. If you don't, I don't want to hear about it. Anyway, so, yes. What's new with me? Let's see. I don't like to get overly optimistic. It makes me feel vulnerable, but things, all the hard work, I'm starting to feel a little less like Peter Pan and a little bit more like Frodo. Well, just emails. There's the annoying emails, the good news emails, the waste of time emails, and I was on a kick there for a while where I was either getting the BS emails or the emails where it's like, oh, well, thanks for that. I get it, Yes, of course, rejections and, oh, sorry, not the right fit. Totally fine. But that being said, the email where it was like, yes, we are publishing this piece on this date, or please send us more. I like those emails so much better. And they've been more frequent, so that's good. Those wrinkles I'm putting in my forehead are for good reason. So, yeah. I was talking to you guys last week about work-life balance, realizing that I was not focusing on, the nuclear family and all that stuff nearly enough, and one-track minded, success and money and blah, blah, blah. And it's interesting because last week there was subtle changes I made. There was things that happened, extra effort by me. I was making sure, like, hey, are you being welcoming or not? Are you tuning in, or are you thinking about what Samantha is going to need to do in the revision of chapter 17? And so last week was an improvement from the week before, but this week being that it's spring break and I want to have fun with my kids. I want to enjoy while they have all this extra time off, but at the same time, there's stuff that I need to do. So I'm trying to juggle it both. It got a little rocky there at parts today. I won't lie. I like my routine, so anytime, and it's not that I have an especially good routine. It's just like I like the reoccurrence. I like doing things at the same time, in a pattern. It's good. I like it. I like knowing what to expect, and if I can help facilitate, a lack of surprises, I will. But life doesn't always allow that sort of thing. So there were moments today where I'm like, well, that wasn't, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I was messing with, I was messing with switching the host of the podcast. And I spent a lot of hours doing that. And I think my dog is snoring. So if you hear a little bit of that, I apologize. Just a few minutes ago, I actually had to stop. Because, the mic and the headphones and everything, it picks everything up. And I'm like, what is that sound I hear? It's like, is that a waterfall? No, is that a laundry machine? No, we're not running. Well, I look over past my desk, and there's I have this little seating area in my luxurious office. And my two cats. I have my one small, very Huck Finn-like personality who has dumped over my solo cup of water, and then I have my big tuxedo, half Mancoon, Garfield mentality feline that's sitting in the water. And the other cat, Marlin, is like, oh, it's dripping down. And so, it's springtime. Today in Seattle, it was almost 80, I think, really warm. It was summer, which, not for nothing, is an awesome way to kick off the kids' spring break. And I think that's part of it, is I was out in the sun so much with them, and then 3 o'clock hit, and it's oh, it's time for work. It's time for bed. Juggling expectations, both outward and inward. It's a thing. It's a thing we all do. It's have to manage, don't manage, ignore. It happens. It does. But, let's see. What do I have to tell you guys? So, I am excited to announce that next Friday, when I post Chapter 5 of Elliot Granger and the Clueless Brigade, the podcast of Elliot Granger and the Clueless Brigade will air. The first 5 chapters will be recorded with my voice. And then every week, when a new chapter is posted on Wattpad and my site, a new recording will be posted on iTunes. So that's exciting. An example, you ask and you shall receive. Yep. Things, then there's some things I can't necessarily talk about yet, but I'm close to being able to. But yes, good things are happening. Fantasy. Some of us embrace fantasy with, in the traditional sense, potions and swords and wizards and goblins. Or we've got vampires. We've got post-apocalyptic universes. One of my favorites, superpowers, another one. There's even, and you'll see it if you're reading Elliot Granger, there's no supernatural fantasy, but I believe there's a fine line between reality and fantasy. And, we all choose to believe things to help get us through the day, to help us get us onto our next thing. We all have it. We all have our beliefs and our desire and need to believe, even if it's to believe, not to believe. I almost worked in a funny quote of Hamlet there, but I've decided to refrain. And, yep. And I think in a lot of cases, and I'll speak for myself here, but I assume that this feeling is pretty common. The feeling to be great, the feeling to make your mark on whatever it is that you're into. We all have our things. And, there's that need to rise above. I have wanderlust most of my life until I found some place that, I'm perfectly happy. And then we've got this career hunger of mine that I can't tell if it's a good thing or if I'm just, I don't know. But yeah, chomping down on doing different things and dreams and hopes and expectations, and we all juggle it. Everybody does. And, and I think that's why superpowers are so important to me, is because I think it's really neat. I think when you have reality in itself is crazy. Read the news. It's, it reads like fiction, which I can't say is the most comforting thing in the world. But, and then, sometimes my mind thinks too many thoughts at once. And then when that happens, my chest starts to tighten up. And honestly, I've come a long way with my anxiety and have it much more under control than I used to. But there are moments when everything just feels too loud and unorganized. And I rely so heavily on routines. And when my time gets thrown off, I feel totally bent out of shape. But when you allow yourself to let your mind go somewhere, it helps escape video games, television. No matter what your genre is, we all have one. And I like that. No matter what your genre is, we all have one. Just like feelings. No matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're going through, everybody's going through stuff. We all need somebody to root for, and that's where stories play such an important part. There's the protagonist, so there's the antagonist, there's dreams, the expectations, the hopes of that character, and rooting for somebody else's hopes. It's different than rooting for your own, especially when it's in, it's within a story that's already been created, and that there's going to be an outcome. There's something there to hold on to, and that's why we all have our escapes, why media has grown in the incredible ways that it has. I tried explaining to my kids that, I had an hour of after-school television and a little bit on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and that was it. And they're like, what? I'm pretty sure they're upstairs, right now, iPadding it away. Adventures, possibilities, the unexpected. And on that note of adventure and unexpected adventure, because that is two words that I would use to describe our guest's book, Deceit, and that is Rebecca Clark. And I am going to bring her on after this note. And hey, Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jayme. Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited. So yesterday morning, I finished reading Deceit.
Oh, great. And what'd you think?
It's so fun. It's a fun adventure, and it's interesting because the first two chapters, I'm ready to I don't know, be really angsty about
Yeah.
And then all this stuff happens. I'm like, what? And it just keeps going, and it's really fun. I finished it it was my weekend read.
It's a quick read. I like that about it.
I do too. Highly Capable is under 52,000 words, so
right. It's a quick read as well. I'm actually halfway through now, and I can't wait to finish it. I really do enjoy Ruby.
Oh, yeah, you're reading it? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruby she's challenging to work with sometimes.
Yeah, she's a little frustrating.
And you have a second book in the works for this series?
Yes, it's off with the editor right now. The book is called Disorder, and I'm excited about it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of second guessing. You know how it is.
Oh, totally.
I'm just sitting here I haven't heard anything. It's been a couple weeks. I know she's busy. I'm like, I don't know.
No, totally. Well, it's a crazy process because you spend all this time and energy and you know, just like rough days and craziness, like putting a book together, and then you send it out and it's like waiting, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want like instant confetti coming down.
Exactly. What do you mean you're not done with it yet?
Tell me you love it and that it's on the New York Best Times.
It's perfect. Exactly. I know. It's definitely an interesting process. Not what I expected.
No, me neither. What
Yeah.
like in what way were you when you say not what you expected? Like, is there something?
I don't know. Like, I guess I mean, I've always liked writing, and I've always, I've always been writing, but I don't know, like preparing, the document and all of the behind the scenes is a lot more than I ever anticipated as well. Like all the decisions you have to make and, book covers and font, and it's like,
There's a lot of business in it. And it's, I
just kind of wanted someone to make those decisions for me and have it just be done, but that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, so. No, I'm with you. I've also spent a lot of time writing, and I knew that, writing was something that I had to do.
Yeah.
But the selling the writing and the writing.
Yeah, I'm having some trouble with that as well, but it's you just got to learn and try it, and I don't know, like marketing yourself is just difficult anyway. I mean, I feel like no matter what you do, it's challenging.
Well, and it feels weird too. I mean, like I was like, I was the kid in school that like when I had to go and like say hi to somebody, like I would like choke on my spit.
Yeah.
So like,
that's me too.
Like hi.
So or like even it's funny, like if someone reads it, and they happen to, see me on Facebook, like for like a takeover, like an author event, and they like send me a message. I'm like, you read it? Oh, and you liked it? I'm like, wow. I don't even know what to say. It's like, it's a lot. It's crazy.
No, totally. I know. My first, when somebody's like, oh, I picked up your book, I want to like apologize.
I know. I do too. Instantly. I'm like, you don't have to read it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
And if you totally hate it, just don't tell me.
Yeah, I know. It's like weird because then, I mean, I'm sure, you've reread it a couple of thousand times. I mean, I've like reread Deceit so many times.
Oh my
gosh. I'm like, why did I say that instead of this? And then I'm like, I wonder if someone else will know that shouldn't be like that, or maybe I could have done that. It's like I just had to like put it down and walk away, and I haven't been back since.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's in the editing process, and it's a big part of the writing process. Yeah. But it's challenging. I had a couple of things where I just pulled out like 30,000 words and had to like put back 30,000 words.
That's intense. Yeah.
And that was like a plot thing where I decided, like, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to do this instead. And it turns out to be a better decision, but still.
Yeah, no, I agree. Unfortunately, with this, towards the end of writing the second book, I didn't back up my computer, my file, and lost probably around 15,000 words. And
that sucks.
It's so crazy because I ended up not going somewhere completely different with it, and I was just like surprised that I did
fun.
That. But it was actually really fun because it wasn't as planned out, and it just went completely different at the end. I surprised myself, and I got really excited, and I'm really excited for book 3 now, so I'm pretty happy.
That's awesome. Isn't that funny? The highs and lows of writing a book. It's like...
Exactly.
You, like, hit the ground, and you're like, oh, everything is terrible. And then you get this win, and you're like, I'm awesome. This
is great. Wow, maybe I can do this.
Did you find that writing the second book was more challenging than you expected it to be?
Yeah, I think so. I think, well, actually, I mean, I feel like a good portion of it came pretty easily, and I thought, wow, that's not so bad. And then, I kind of struggled towards the end, but maybe it's because I wasn't 100% sold on where I was going, and maybe, losing those, last chapters was a good thing because now I feel, like it ended well.
Well, that's awesome that it ended up, I mean, that is, that is a crazy thing, because like sometimes I'll go into it and be like, I know where I'm going, and then I get closer there and I start dragging my feet because I'm like, actually, I don't know where I'm going.
I know, I hear you. It's crazy.
So I was wondering because like I gotta say, the world that you built seems like it was a lot of fun to build.
Yes, I have been dreaming about that place for a long time. So I finally just decided to write it down. And typically, I have crazy dreams. I'm like a dreamaholic. I just love it. But I never have really written down any. I mean, I get ideas, and I have like a notebook next to the bed, and I write some ideas, but I've never carried it much further than that until Deceit.
That's really cool, because I know, I mean, there's, dreams in Deceit, and then I was reading on your blog about how you do all this really cool stuff with dreaming, and I was like, oh, well, I want to hear more about, so you were dreaming about the world that...
Yeah, so basically, I don't know. I have weird dreams. I have an overactive imagination that can lead me into some trouble, whether it's not sleeping, because I hear things and I imagine like monsters under the bed still. And yes, I'm 34 years old and still have those thoughts, which is crazy because I have 2 young kids and I try to pretend like I've got it together, but I probably don't. So
nobody does.
No. So those monsters. So when I do sleep, I am able to have these dreams. It's wonderful. It's like a vacation. I mean, it's exhausting being a mother, and you just need that time. And it's always, quiet. When I can dream, it is fantastic. But I have had I think when I'm too tired, I just don't remember as well as I could if I wasn't so tired when I fall asleep. So it's been challenging, but when I am able to dream, I have these amazing dreams where I can smell things and remember how things feel. And I've dreamt of this field, and everything was kind of upside down, where the stems of the flowers were purple and the tops were green and they were velvety. And
that's awesome.
That's directly in the book, because I dreamt of this place and this guy, and pretty much the same as what Jax looks like. I don't know. It's great. I love it. And these people came to my mind, and I just kind of woke up one morning and, wrote down a bunch of things and just started writing.
That's so cool. And I mean, I find it fascinating that that you've taken control of your dreams, because I have tons of trouble sleeping, and same thing with I get very easily creeped out, and I'm always like, what's that sound?
Yeah, exactly.
And I make my dogs jumpy, and they run around the house barking, because I'm like, what was that?
That just makes it worse.
Yeah, exactly. Now I have them convinced.
Right.
But I have crazy dreams too, but they're always dark and nightmares, and I've never tried to actually take control of them, but
your dreams. Yeah,
but I'll have the same kind of dream over and over and over again, and I can wake up and I go right back into it.
I waking up and going back into it is big. When I was younger, I used to do this a lot, probably in high school. I would have just dreams that I enjoyed. I'm a science teacher, so I love science, and I've always been a big fan of dinosaurs and the ocean. And so before bed, I would try to imagine what dinosaurs would be like. Or I think I watched Godzilla one night and had a dream, and it wasn't scary, but it was just it was about Godzilla, and I was tracking him and following him, and I really enjoyed the dream. I thought it was fun. And so before bed, quite often I would just kind of jump back into the dream, and could continue it on, or just kind of relive it again. which was always kind of fun and kind of challenging. And my friends used to make fun of me, obviously, and say, I can't believe you can do that. And of course, I had like my, teenage crushes, and I could think about them, before I went to bed and like dream about them. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes me think of a power that like Sabrina the Teenage Witch would have.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, with that, I feel like, my overactive imagination was just kind of fueled. And, during the day, I just would go into school, or even now, I mean, it's probably less sharp now because I'm, my mind is elsewhere all the time. But, like seeing somebody at a store, like a person, or kind of like a scene happen, I can totally, like in my mind, picture what's going to happen next, who the people are, what their backstory is, and create this thing, and be kind of crazy about it. But it's probably a good thing I don't have that much time anymore to myself, because it's really challenging to do your other daily duties with that.
Well, I know. I mean, I suffer from head in the cloud syndrome as well. And I remember, like, when I was younger, I used to go to this, like, it was like an ice cream shop that had, like, tables in it. And I would sit there and I would, kind of people watch and just, like, make up, like, different stories in my head. Like, that person's that person's a spy. And
exactly. Yep.
Now, do you have, like, any, like, fantasy inspirations that, like, you go to, or that, have kind of helped inspire you to add to the community of, fantasy creations?
Not really. No. I wish I could say otherwise, that I was more interesting on that level. But, I mean, I'm just, interested in, the planets in general, and the natural world and science stuff. So like I always love reading about like factual things that are happening, or like something new that's come on the radar, like solar flares, say, for instance. But then in my mind, I like to create these other ideas, and I kind of warp reality into my fantasy world. So it's just me. It's just me being crazy.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome. That's you being awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I found when I was, when I was reading Deceit the World, even though, of course, it felt like a different world, it was very relatable. I was able to, visualize and hold on to things. Because, sometimes when you read about, complete fictional worlds, it's hard, at least for me. Like, I'll have trouble, like, kind of putting myself there. But, I was right there.
Thank you. That means a lot.
So you're a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom also, am I correct?
Yes. It's challenging. It's probably the most challenging thing I've ever done. But I love teaching, and I love science, like I said. So it's one of those things where I'm so fortunate that I'm able to do both. And, I work for a great company that allows that. And, it's great because I still have that student-teacher connection, and it's good. I love it.
Well, it's really cool that technology has put it so you can. I mean, the working from home world is just, it's so much more huge. Possible. And
yeah, absolutely.
Do you find it like, I don't know, I as well, I work from home, and I do the kid thing, and this is spring break currently for me. So I've been attempting to like be adventure, fun mom until about 3:00, and then my husband, who also works from home.
Oh wow, yeah, that's gotta be tough.
It's definitely a learning, ways to do that. But and then he handles the kids until I'm done, or pretty much till they go to bed, and I keep going. But,
right. It's hard to work at night, though, too,
It can be. Well, and I mean, we're fortunate to have, like, this crazy, like, summer weather this week.
Oh, like, nice.
Yesterday, I was out in the sun with them all day, and then, like, I got to the computer at 3:00, and I just wanted to cry. I'm like, I'm so tired.
No, that's, like, exhausting. I have that, like, I think I'm way more creative in the morning. I'm not sure why, but like even without coffee, I wake up like almost a little energized, and I'm like, I would love to just sit and write or, you know, do some things for myself. But of course, that doesn't usually happen. So I usually use like the weekends, mostly for writing. And then I work most nights, and kind of during the day, I kind of balance it between like napping, the nap schedule, and my daughter's in preschool. She's only 3, so
okay.
She's kind of crazy too with the imagination. So I'm a little concerned where this is going. She is hilarious. This morning, she woke up and she told me this like a long story for a 3-year-old about a hat that she was wearing. And she was frantic looking out the window because it blew away. And at first I was like, what is she talking about? But she was dreaming, and I don't think she understands like what, dreams are yet. I mean, she just turned 3, and she was telling me how she couldn't catch her hat and it was up in the clouds and like it landed in a tree, and she was going on. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I think she might have my imagination.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like kind of shocked actually, because she's never mentioned dreaming before.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but now, of course, she's a little OCD, I think. She's very, like, needs all of her things, like, where she knows where they are. And, of course, before bed, she's like, well, where's my hat? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know where it is. I'm like, we'll look for it tomorrow outside. And she really didn't like that, though, but...
3 is such an intense age because they're like they're turning into like people. Right. They're leaving the like the baby stuff is like behind them, and
yes.
Yeah. And my 2 they're 8 and 6.
Wow. Yeah. So the same age difference as mine too, 2 years.
So you have
I have a daughter that's 3, and my son will be 1 next week.
Oh wow. So you're in the thick of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's why I don't really get as much time as I would like to write right now. But I'm hoping, that'll change in the future.
Well, it definitely, it does. I mean, this year is the first year that I have 2 in elementary school. And this is the year that I'm full-time writing. And I plan that. And it makes a big difference. And actually, when they have time off from school, I remember the impossibility of doing both. And, they don't nap,
right,
at this
right.
age.
They're older now.
I keep trying to get them to nap.
Yeah. Or like but now you have to be fun adventure mom, and, they need to be entertained more or less, I think, at the age, 8 and 6.
Yeah, but I'm finding that they need to be, like, watched more in, like, a different way, because it's like, I've got one that's, like, trying to, like, find scary video games.
Oh, no.
Because, he has recess, kindergartner has recess with 3rd graders.
Oh, wow.
To prevent, they don't do consecutive age groups to prevent, like, bullying. Like, to do that. But he hears about all these crazy, because, he takes after me. He seeks out the older students, and then my daughter's she's counting down the days when I actually finally say yes to a sleepover.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. I'm terrified.
I don't envy you. Oh no, it's in my future, I guess. But
in a lot of ways it's easier because they are more technically they can get themselves food, they just don't always want to.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
So I was wondering, because like I'm also writing. I guess it seems like we're in similar stages. My second book is also off being edited. That's writing great. A series is challenging.
Yes, it is so very challenging. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, you're writing other things in the meantime, though, right? I know you're writing. I saw it on your blog. I forget the name of it.
So I am writing a serial, contemporary young adult, called Elliot Granger and the Coolest Brigade. And then I also, I have another book, with off to an editor that I'm also trying to shop around. That's a YA contemporary.
Oh, nice. That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of different projects going on. That must be hard to balance.
It is and it isn't. It is when I'm trying to hit different things because I'm trying to also just get different pieces, different places. Trying to George Costanza myself.
Absolutely.
But I kind of I need to stay busy and obsessed with things. That's kind of how I am.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, I'm constantly getting ideas, and I'm always kind of talking at my husband about them, and he's just why don't you write down a list of all your current projects before you add any more?
Yeah, I have that same issue of I'm not jumping around, but coming up with ideas, and I'm well, maybe I should do that, or it's hard to stay focused when you've got a lot going on in your head.
Yeah, well, and that's actually where I ended up starting, because for a really long time it was just Ruby. And then I started integrating all these different projects because it helped me with my focus. So when I would hit something, I'm I don't know what happens. I don't even know who this character is anymore. I just jump onto something else.
Yeah, I kind of did the same. I kind of needed a break, more or less. Well, I started actually working on a post-apocalyptic type angels, and zombies type book. And I'm working on that with actually a family member, my aunt, who also loves to write. And it's been fun because we go back and forth between chapters. So that's really fun because I kind of, in my mind, we kind of loosely talked about where we wanted it to go. And then, I'd write a chapter and then she would write a chapter, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. But I needed to kind of slow it down while I finished up Disorder. And then I'm also writing a series, which is kind of a forensic story. It's going to be a series for a website called Shanilo. And
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And it's just, so I'll be submitting, a chapter twice a month. And I'm just kind of trying to, wrap up the first 10 or so chapters before I start posting, probably in July. And I'm excited about it because I have a love for forensics as well. And I actually teach forensic science, so I get a lot of ideas from that.
Yeah, I bet that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited because it's not, there's just a lot more to it now, because it's not so much I'm not creating, a world. It's actual thing, there's research, and there's a lot more going into a book like that than there is something that you're
completely
coming up with in your head. So it's kind of that learning curve too is kind of throwing me off, but it's fun. I really enjoy it.
That's cool. Yeah, you know what? I'm finding, because I'm doing work in fantasy and then in contemporary, and the jumping genres, it's nice because it keeps your head fresh, because it
does.
And that's, I think that's good, keeping the mind fresh.
Right, and then I find too I'm trying to write in different points of view, and just kind of, it's really kind of messes with your head, actually.
Yes, it does. Well, I noticed that about Deceit. You did first person present too.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that challenging?
That is so challenging. I found myself not, changing, mid chapters, and I mean, I was probably exhausted, so I had to go back and fix it. So now I'm trying a couple different things, third person, and then back to first person. It's fun, but it's super challenging. But I do think writing differently really helps. I feel I write better almost now when I go back to something different. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, it totally does. I feel you're exercising your storytelling brain in a different way. Because when you do first person, it's more personal. And then third, you're able to kind of take different pieces of all different things.
Right.
Because when you're first,
nice.
It is nice. But it also can be more challenging depending on what the story, because with Ruby, I only need to worry about what she sees.
Exactly.
So in some ways,
right. Yeah. Same with Alexa and Deceit. It was focused around her, and only needed to know what was going on with her.
Yeah, and how she was reacting to it and stuff.
Right. but it's funny because then I started, before I sent a seed off to the editor, I kind of mess around with, going chapter to chapter, like her point of view and then Jax's point of view. And I wrote like that for a while. And it was challenging. So I kind of, reverted back to Alexa because it's more about her than him, obviously. But I hopes that I can, potentially do more with him. I think he's an interesting character.
He is an interesting character. I'm excited to learn more about him.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to him. So I'm hoping to kind of delve into that as well, hopefully soon. You never know.
Yeah, he does feel like an onion, I gotta say.
Yes. I think so.
Got my attention. Well, it is. No. Well, when I started trying, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this podcast. And I've been kicking around for a while. I'm listening to other podcasts and I'm getting like that, like, I want to be doing this. You know that. I mean, you've probably experienced that possibly with books. Like, I'll read a book and be like, I want to be writing a book. So
I know, yeah.
But, it's been... so when I started doing all this practice stuff and I was doing research and I was practice talking to the mic, well, it's like I struggle with that during the day sometimes. Like the house is like completely filthy and gross and the dogs need to be walked and like I need to do stuff with the kids, but they're at school and it's like, here I am sitting on a sofa scribbling in a notebook. Some days it's hard to feel like I'm actually like doing constructive things with my time. Right. And now here I am, at 1 o'clock in the morning talking in a microphone in a dark room.
That's funny. Well, that's good, though. It's constructive. And I think, like I said, I think you have the voice for this. And I think it's good. It's entertaining.
Thank you.
I'm actually looking forward to, I didn't catch Rachel Thompson's yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. That's she so humbly says, that's a good one.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm going to, hopefully, that's on my to-do list this week.
That's cool. I have my to-do list. Like, it's so crazy. And, like, I'm sure, being a working mom, you feel it, too. You actually, like, you have, like, a wish list of things to do for yourself.
I know, you really do. It's like, well, I could shower right now, or I could write for, like, an hour.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
When it's hard, I remember this. It was hard to, like, want to shower when the kids were napping because it felt like I could be doing something.
That's, like, my time.
Yeah.
It's my golden time. Yeah. No, I totally... Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to enjoy every minute because it doesn't last forever. So.
I know. And it really doesn't. And now I'm like, I find myself like I'll see like a 3-year-old boy and I'll be like, oh, I remember what it was like to have a 3-year-old boy.
Yeah, that was so nice. Yeah, no, I know. I was at like I went to the park yesterday and there was this family and their kids were like a little bit older. And I just kind of like envied that like she could sit there and read. She was reading and the kids were playing like nicely together. And I was just thinking, wow, like she is so lucky. Like she's reading a book outside and like the kids aren't fighting and no one's putting stuff in their mouth that they shouldn't be. And wow. So
yeah, well, those younger years are so intense too. I mean, it's way different now. I would say when my youngest turned 5, it was like, okay, we're in a different phase.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the phase, but I'm enjoying this phase. That's pretty PC, right?
Yeah, pretty PC.
Okay.
I could have probably enjoyed the younger years better. I was bad with babies. Honestly.
Yeah, they're tough. They're not easy.
Well,
and boys, I'm finding, are just so very different.
Oh, so your second is a boy?
Is a boy. And he's just very rough and he's pretty crazy. I mean, I really wasn't expecting, everyone's like, yeah, wait till you have a boy. They're very different. I'm like, yeah. A baby's a baby. I mean, come on, a 1-year-old's a 1-year-old, but that's really not the case.
No. I was shocked too because I always had the ability, like my daughter would just sit down and color for hours.
Absolutely.
And he scribbled once and then ate the crayon and then threw something at his sister.
Yep. Yeah. And like my son, he's pretty big for one. He's like in 3T clothing. He's huge. and I'll have him like at the store or like out at like the park, and I get these looks from people like, why are you carrying around like your 3-year-old? And I just want to say, like, you know, he is not 3, he is 1, he is huge, but this is him, he's 1. Like, they look at me like I'm crazy. Well, a lot of crazy looks.
The general public with children sometimes, man.
That's true.
I remember so my son was 1.5, so my daughter was like a little older than 3, because they end up being like 17 months apart.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yes, it's crazy. I mean, there's some blurry times.
Yeah.
But I remember I was grocery shopping, and it was one of those big trips. We were there for really long. We had multiple changes of clothes. And then my daughter was throwing a tantrum because she wanted like some cookie or something.
Yeah.
And I wasn't giving in to the tantrum because, you know, it's not helpful.
No.
And this woman walking by, like, took it off the shelf and handed it to her.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, I grew a second head.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would have done.
Well, yeah, that's during crazy. Sleep-deprived, you know, time.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, you're not rational.
Oh, no.
You have young kids.
Okay. No.
Nope. I just try to, like, keep a smile on my face and just keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I had actually an experience today at the grocery store. Just had to go in and grab a few things. I don't like taking both kids to the grocery store.
No, that doesn't change.
My wife will do the grocery shopping. She loves to grocery shop, and she'll take my daughter, and it's great. But I was like, I'll go today. I got to get a few things. I'm going to make something for dinner. And my son was going crazy. I'm not sure what he was possessed by, but he started like banging his head on the carriage like a crazy person. So of course, you know, his face is red and he's crying and he's still doing it. So I picked him up and I'm carrying him around. He's 26 pounds, carrying him around, pushing a cart with my daughter in it. And the looks I was getting, like you would think I was, you know, doing something bad. I'm like, and then finally this woman came over and she's like, oh, and there's no time to like talk to anybody. Oh, your kids are, you know, so beautiful. And my daughter has like no patience for people in general. Like she's probably not very friendly. So, you know, the woman's like, oh, you have beautiful eyes. And she like made this like grunt and like turned her face, and I just walked away. I didn't even know what to do because, you know, she's 3 and she's going to grunt at you or ignore you. And...
Oh, totally. Well, my daughter used to do that, and she wouldn't talk to strangers. And you know what I always told myself? Like, you know what? I don't really want her. Yeah. And then you know what? And it's turned into like, you know, somebody will call her sweetheart that doesn't know her. And she'll be like, don't call me sweetheart. And it's like, yeah, oh boy. That's awesome.
That's definitely going to be my daughter too. Yeah. It's actually at the park yesterday. She met a little friend, and you know, he was a year older, so he was 4, and he was like adamant about her going down a certain slide. He's like, follow me, do this, do that. And I didn't say anything. I was just like, this is going to be interesting just to watch, because she's not, I mean, I can ask her to pick up her toys and she doesn't really do anything I say. So I didn't know if it was like, you know, a mom thing or just a thing. So finally, you know, I watched her walk up this, you know, big jungle gym thing and across the bridge. And he's like, no, this one. And she goes, no, I'm going down this one. And I was just like so excited that she made that decision for herself. I'm like, wow, this is great. And then I'm thinking, she's only 3. There's a lot of this ahead of me. A lot of this witnessing of these interactions, which are so strange, but funny.
It's so strange. Well, and then it's so... You know, and I'm still not used to it. I don't think I ever will be. But when they come home and they tell me about, like, stuff that's happened at recess or whatever, it always sounds crazy. It's like, it's crazy. And, I mean, I think in reality, most of it isn't as crazy as it sounds. Because, like, you remember when you were a kid.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Interactions with other kids was everything.
Right.
So, you know, I think when they come back to me with this information, it's, you know, but I don't know. It's very Lord of the Flies.
It is, but it's like, I find it so, like, I was so engrossed, like, watching them, like, interact. I don't know. I probably looked odd because I was just so intent on listening as to, like, what they were saying. And it's very cool. It's very neat how, like, you know, they grow into these, people and
I know,
come
it's
up with
crazy.
these personalities. I was thinking it'd be, in another lifetime, I probably would have liked going to psychology or something along that lines. It's just very neat.
It is very interesting to think about, like, how the mind works and develops, and, like,
Yeah.
It's, things happen in life and you react to them, but it's, hard to know what's really happening or what
Right.
you're, so often I think feelings can be miscounted because you're like, oh, well, I'm just feeling that. It's like, oh, well, let's explore that. I mean, I never do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm
Right.
trying to be more in touch with myself just because I am a mom and,
Right.
I'm noticing things and I'm like, okay, well, I need to, my kids are similar to me and they need, especially my daughter, her mind just goes and goes, and like
Right.
she says to me, how to quiet your mind? I'm like, oh shit, well, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
You're like, I need to figure that out first. I'll let you know.
Exactly, yeah. And like my son, he's got my temper, so it's like, now I'm trying to like talk myself, like, I'm not going to yell, I'm going to talk about my feelings.
Exactly. Well, that's hard, like, especially driving.
Oh,
I mean, I've got a bit of I can have road rage sometimes when people, like, do stupid things, especially with kids in the car. I get a little worked up. So I've been trying to not express my feelings so much. But it's hard.
It is hard. Oh, I've taught my kids so many bad words in the car,
Yeah.
and that's a hot button issue for me too, and I'll be fine. Like, honestly, I could probably never leave my house and be okay.
Yeah.
But like anytime like I go out and like people are driving around crazy, it's like instant like,
oh yeah. Yep. I'm the same way, and my daughter's definitely repeated words that I'm not proud of, but I almost think it's hard to censor yourself. And I almost don't really want to all the time because, she'll just know she's not supposed to say that. And only, adults can say words like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and now we're going to the, like my daughter doesn't seem to have interest in like cursing, honestly.
Right.
My son.
But your son, yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He says it, and he has these big blue eyes and these dimples. So, like, he'll drop that, the F-bomb, and it's adorable. He's adorable when he does it, and he knows it.
Oh. You're you almost want to say, do it again and record it. Just because it's...
This would go viral on YouTube.
Exactly.
No. Yep. But, now I'm just in his ear about, like, just don't do it at school.
Right. Don't let any adults hear you.
Exactly. Yeah, don't get me in trouble with your teachers.
Exactly. Because then you'll have to go to the school.
Mm-hmm. Pretend you're an angel to get you out of trouble.
Right. Ugh, the list.
Oh, gosh. I know. Well, you know what? And it's funny because I was clicking around, internet stalking you, and I was digging through your blog, and I saw a post that you wrote about helicopter parents.
Yeah. Yep. I experience a lot of helicopter parents. Being like a online teacher, it's difficult because each student is coming to the school for a different reason. Some are homeschooled, some are looking for, an added course because maybe their school doesn't offer it. There's a lot of different reasons, but I find that, the parents, and I mean, kids of any background, it's great, that they're exploring online. So I think it's important in this day and age to actually try an online course, like in middle school or high school, because I feel like a lot of colleges offer so many online offerings now and all of that. But I'd get like emails from parents about like setting up appointments for their 18-year-old son or daughter. And I get blown away, or I get phone calls. And I used to use my cell phone, which I don't anymore, because I'd get phone calls from parents saying, so-and-so is looking for, a time to speak with you about her last test or his last test. And I'm like, just so disappointed that these parents are, doing all of this for their child. I mean, I can see like middle school. I mean, 8th grade, I feel like sometimes I'm confused as to why they're taking a high school course because I teach high school courses. But, definitely, more power to you. That's great. You want to take forensics as an 8th grader.
Yeah, seriously.
That's great. But and I can see like interacting with parents more at that level, but these are like seniors that I hear from like their parents, juniors, seniors. Like my parents would never have done that when I was in high school.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, at that point, reality's very close.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even so, my daughter's in second grade, and she had this big presentation that she had to bring into school, which was like a biography poster. So she had to read a biography and then like do a poster of that person and then give a presentation.
Right.
She brought her poster in early. She was really excited about it, and then she started seeing all these kids bring their in. And she got really upset because she was like, mine looks awful. And, so-and-so's parents bought them illustrations for their poster. And so-and-so did this. And it's just like, well, what you're telling me is that your classmates' parents did their posters. I was like, I wouldn't be teaching you anything at all if I did your poster for you.
That's terrible. I feel bad. That's not fun.
Well, I wonder where that comes from. And I mean, like, I've been falling, I think, victim to that with, and I've been cleaning my kids' rooms and telling them that they need to clean their rooms. They're both.
I think there's a line eventually.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, maybe not, but like, you just, I mean, your kids are still young. Cleaning their rooms, I don't think is, I don't think you're on the road to become a helicopter parent, but, like, when it comes to school and like teaching, like responsibility, and it may start, obviously it starts at home, responsibility, but, I used to think too, like I think back to, I have a brother and he, wasn't very good at school, and he was like a wild child, but like in public, I always remember in public, everyone adored him. I mean, they still do. They're like, oh, your brother's great. Your brother is so polite. He's so, helpful. Like I get lists wherever I go, like how wonderful my brother is. But little do people know, he was like crazy. But like when he went out in public, he acted a certain way. He was still responsible. Like he, he made it look good on paper. Like he had everyone fooled. Like I kind of feel like it's like that. Like you have a time and a place to act a certain way and do certain things and responsibility. Yeah, like his room was a mess, but he did his schoolwork and, whatever. I just feel like when I get emails from parents at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night saying, oh, so-and-so's sick tonight and won't be able to talk to you. Well, why can't they send me an email that they're sick?
Yeah, that's just life practice right there.
Like if they're 17 or 18, I mean, even 16, like eventually they're going to go off to college or move out of your house. And what are you going to do then? Are you going to go to their course or their class and like take notes for them while they're sick?
No, I mean, life skills is the thing. And, and I'm always telling that to my kids too, because I'll be like, you're learning more than just, reading and math and science in school. You're learning how to be in a society.
Yes.
And that's, that's important.
Yeah, it really is. It's frustrating because then I have some students who are so on top of everything and you're like, wow, like, I mean, I guess you also, this has a big thing on like, growing up and how people, mature at different times and, they kind of come into their own, but I just definitely have a problem with those helicopter parents at 18 years old. Drives me crazy.
No, totally. Well, I would imagine.
I actually had a student who was going to be 21 in 4 months, and at 21, you're no longer to, attend public high school. And he's 20, and his mom was emailing me and telling me that he was unable to attend our meeting.
Oh my gosh!
What?
One thing that I'm doing more and more, especially the more that, more time that I spend writing, is I look at, people and it's like I see characters and it's so interesting because like you have like there's so many like little like, intricate details and backstory. And I'm always wondering, like I'll see like something crazy happen and I'll be like, there's not much stranger than reality.
Yes, I definitely think I can say, even from deceit, I've definitely drawn on, off of people that I know for like different characters.
Well, I'm forgetting. I feel like this is a quote from Kurt Vonnegut, but it could be Twain. Sometimes I get their writing quotes like jarbled together.
Yes.
Like fiction is reality turned up.
Right. Yeah. I'm terrible with quotes, so I can't be of any help, but
Something like
totally
that.
makes sense.
I think you're getting the vibe of the quote.
Yes, I received the vibe. Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that, things get recycled and turned into something else. I mean, I think, Ruby definitely and I have, some similarities. I had some childhood stuff to overcome, and I didn't want to be a dirtbag. So that's that's a decision that I kind of, because I could have very easily been one. So I think that, that's definitely part of how Ruby got, her deal.
Right. That's why she's so frustrating.
Yes, because I'm frustrating.
It's your great depth, though, so that's good.
Well, I mean, and I really like how strong Alexa is.
Yeah. I think I would say, I'm not really sure, actually. I think she is maybe who I, want. I was thinking of my daughter a lot because I was pregnant for most of when I was writing it, and I was thinking, if she was faced with certain things, how she would overcome them, and I'd want her to be strong, and I was kind of putting that out there. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, no, it totally does. Well, and I think because Alexa came across as a very real person, and insecurities, flawed hopes, dreams, all that stuff.
Right.
But as the story develops, she grows, and I really like it. I like what she does. I like what she thinks. She's a good character to hold on to.
Oh, thank you. I hope you think that after book 2.
I know. Well, I've been kind of peeking in the Immensely Powerful is the name of the next book.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Thank you. And I like it too. I'm excited. But I've been peeking at it because I've been thinking about, oh man, I don't know if I wanted to do that. And it's no, it's not in my hands anymore. Even if it's in my computer, don't touch it.
Don't touch it. I know. It's hard to walk away after you send it.
It is. It is hard. Well, and I think, the fact that, you have a fictional world, you have endless possibilities.
Right.
So it's hard to feel like you've done the right, the
right thing.
Exactly. Well, because with book 2, I found when I was writing it the first time how difficult it was to stay true to the characters but develop them.
Right.
Which I went into book 2 thinking, I already have the world created. This is going to be easy.
Right.
But in fact, I think it was harder because I had an existing world that I had to develop on. Mm-hmm. So I think, there is just natural room as the creator of that to feel doubt.
Right. Yeah, no, I can totally, I feel the same way. I think it's challenging, but I don't know. For me, it was more or less, the book ends where she has to go do something. And, for me, I think the hardest part was the whole mother-daughter, relationship, because it was strained and, obviously strained, I guess you could say. But having it seem more realistic that, maybe mothers and daughters can overcome issues, and kind of going off of that, and kind of wanted to carry that theme throughout the book. But
there's a lot of family there, and
yeah. And I think it's hard to carry the theme throughout multiple books.
Well, I think by virtue it would
redundant, and
Well, and I think that's it. I think it's growing that theme is what's challenging, or one of the many things.
Exactly. One of the many challenging but fun things.
Yes, challenging but fun. That's a good way to sum up writing a book.
Yes, I think so too.
Rebecca, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter. My handle is at Rebecca_author. Or you can find me on Facebook at the Stellar Series Facebook page. And you can check out Deceit on Amazon. And it's actually, if you're a Kindle subscriber, it is free.
Awesome. And then the second book, Disorder, that will be out soon.
I'm hoping this summer sometime.
You know, I'm going to have a summer release too. Maybe we should get creative about what we do there.
I think we definitely need to.
I will do some planning.
Please do.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Rebecca. It was really great talking to you.
Yes, it was. Thank you for having me.
It was awesome having her on the show. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening. Well, you know what? That pretty much does it for this week. You can visit my Facebook page and click on my contest tab and enter to win a signed copy of The Highly Capable. Follow the show on Twitter at Too Many Words Pod. Follow me on Twitter at Me Bedingfield. Instagram, I'm there. Go to my site this Friday, Elliot Granger and the Clueless Brigade. Check it out. Remember to subscribe to the show on iTunes, on Stitcher. Leave a review if you like what I'm doing here. Reviews help. They help me reach my goals, your time, my dreams, good stuff. Have a great night. Talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.